Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most compassionate. Welcome to this episode, and it will be a continuation of the previous episode, and the topic is involving parents in your classroom. We mentioned some of the benefits of having the parents participating in your classroom, and we did not talk anything, we didn't say anything about from the perspective of a parent, what benefit is the parent going to get from being involved. I'll mention some of them, and I hope that you can add. One of them is that the parent can see the child in reality, in action. At home is not a school environment, right? It's a home environment. So they don't see the side that they see at home. Children at home may behave differently than when they behave in classrooms. In classrooms, they are strange peers. They're not brothers and sisters. There are some adults, right? The teacher and the principal and the other teachers in the school. So when they come to school and sometime in the classroom, they see their children in action. And they benefit from this because they learn more about their children. And not only that, they learn more about how the teacher, who is the expert, he or she deals with the child when he behaves in that way or in the other way. So this is another thing. A second thing is that they get the expert or the eye of the expert. They have an opportunity to ask the teacher, even for a minute or two after the lesson or before the lesson, how would I deal with my child who is doing this and this and this? So they get the opportunity to learn from the parents. And remember, all these things, what we're doing, that we're trying to upgrade, right, the child. One day here, yes, the parent is doing something, the teacher is doing something, the principal is doing something, the counselor is doing something. All of us try to upgrade the level of the student. So involving parents is something really very important. Yes, what else do you think that parents can benefit from this experience of being involved to the class? Please go ahead.
I have two roles to play in my school, one as a faculty for the parents as well as for the students, as well as one as a father of my child itself,
Okay.
the same school.
Good.
We have come out with the tarbiyah of the parents also.
Okay.
At time it happens that the child is brilliant, he is a very good in character, but certain times due to domestic violence
Yes.
or some other problems, the child is not performing well. And when we come to know, we hold some private counseling of fathers also. Like
Yeah.
I'll
Yes,
interact with the
another
father, my
benefit,
wife will
you're
interact
giving
with the mother.
counseling to the parent,
Counseling
the
of the
father or
parent.
the mother.
Then we have one more thing. We have a regular program on Sundays, Saturdays, and Mondays for parents,
Okay.
where we have an expert speaker speaking on socio-economic or religious topics from Islamic viewpoint.
Okay, so the parents would have
So the parents can
opportunity.
also learn,
Okay.
the child is also learning,
Good.
both of them
Yes.
increase their level together.
Come here. Any other thing? Okay, now we're saying that some parents, for example, try to exceed the limit, try to interfere too much in the work of the teacher. Some parents are demanding. Do you recall some incidents in your teaching or, yes, to share with me? If you do, okay, please go ahead. Do you want to share anything? Okay, if you want to share, please go ahead. What are some of the disadvantages that you see when parents are involved? Yeah.
As far as the involvement of the parents goes in the performance of the child, there are certain parents. See, parents come from different backgrounds.
Okay.
Some parents are very cooperative, some are aggressive, some are too much materialistic oriented.
Okay. But teachers are not aggressive, right?
The teachers are already
them are.
gone through some training programs, like one of these, Alhamdulillah.
Okay. Or at least less aggressive than parents.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there was one incident where I was taking some classes on public speaking and Islamic Dawah training program. One of the fathers was feeling that we were a little biased in grading his son. Little biased. He felt that way.
Oh, the teacher was biased or
Yes.
the parent?
The faculty was biased. That's
Okay.
what the parents thought. One of the parents thought. So they approached me and I spoke to them, because there are many things which are not mentioned in the grades. Many things we don't mention in the grades because we also take into consideration the personal behavior of a child in the class when we grade in other things. So everything is included. So the parents do not know about this.
Okay.
So they were a little aggressive. So when we explained to them,
Very good.
in that case, having a security camera and recording and showing it to the parents at times becomes a solid proof
Okay.
to show for the faculty all children are equal.
Okay. I think we mentioned something about this. If the father comes to the class or he sits behind these glasses and he would see the child, he would know that what the teacher is saying is true. Remember, I think every parent is biased to his child and they think that their child is the one who doesn't make mistake and infallible. So when they come and they would have an opportunity to evaluate the teacher and to see the child day after day, to see the child even acting in the playground in the recess time. They would see the child doing things that he doesn't do it at home because the home is small, he cannot run, he cannot push another child. You see what I'm saying? So in the school where there's lots of opportunities and different contexts, so they get clearer idea about this. Okay, what other disadvantages that you want us to talk about? If they're not, that means really nice. Okay, I think I have to move to another point, but before I do that, I would ask you, what would you do after this piece of information or the information that you got today about involving the parents in the school? What would you do in your school after this? Would you, give me some ideas. What are you going to do? Please go ahead.
I really like the idea of the feedback form to be filled by the parents for the teacher.
Okay, so
it will really enhance the teaching skills of the teacher.
Very good.
And definitely give very positive approach towards teaching.
And not only that, this is an evidence with you now. It's not just the principal who's saying that you're a good teacher, but there are many parents. 17 parents visited you last year, and 16 of them, they say that you are outstanding teacher. Evidence, very solid evidence for you. Okay, what else do you want to share? Yes, please.
Inshallah, I like the concept of calling them and inviting them as our guest.
Okay.
The professionals, be it doctor or even a housewife.
Okay.
Social, moral activities, so she can also share her points and all that stuff. It will really enlarge the skills of the students.
That's good. Remember that we said that, okay, I am going to do this, inshallah, tomorrow. I am going to send a letter to the parents asking them to come to visit me in the classroom. Yes, please.
Inshallah, what I will do is that I'll first go and find out and request the management to give me the professions of the parents and try to know that which parent can be helpful to me in my particular lesson.
Okay, so I would go back to the school and see these documents. I think these documents should be available to you. But what I was expecting here, I was expecting you to say, I will look into this document and I would see whether we need to update them or not. Sure. We need to get more information about the parents or not. So if we really need, so I think we need to work on a new form. Okay, good.
Just a comment on what the point sister had spoken before. Yes, it is very good that the parents will come to school and try to explain to the students. In that way, we can even make the parents realize what kind of work we are doing. They can better appreciate the work that we're doing as a teacher. They can really understand what we go through and they can better relate to us. So they don't have that many complaints against us because they have the experience firsthand.
Okay.
And secondly is...
The purpose is not avoiding more complaints. The purpose is raising standards of students. This is the main purpose. I don't care whether they send millions of complaints or not. I care about raising the standards. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not doing this for the sake of avoiding complaints. I'm doing it for the sake of Allah and for raising the standards of the student. Okay, I want just to emphasize this point in our life. You're not even Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam had been criticized by millions of people. He's in his grave now, and millions of people are criticizing him. And no one reaches just to the level of the feet of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the issue of trying to avoid the complaints of people shouldn't bother us as Muslims. We are doing things for the sake of Allah, the sake of professionalism, for the sake of raising the standards of our children. Good. What else you like to share? Okay, it's time to take a break. I will take a break and we'll come back. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
I wanted to share with you some of the ayat of the Quran and some of the ahadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Care and affection, guidance and encouragement, dedication and vision,
which give us an indication and an instruction.
Uplifting the horizons of the child in an Islamically sound way.
As to how to be good Muslim parents.
Muhammad Tim Humble.
Welcome to a brand new series, 26 ways to be a good Muslim parent.
Imbibe the various qualities of ideal parents essential for their children's upbringing and betterment from 26 ways to be a good Muslim parent. Tonight at 11:30 p.m. and repeat telecast at 12:30 p.m. India on Peace TV.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome back after the break. We covered the issue of involving parents in classrooms. We'll move a little bit to another topic that would help us to make our classes more effective than they are, is something that's called research questions. Remember when we talked about strategic questions? This can be under it, or you can isolate it. I tried to isolate it to give it some importance, some stress in. Research questions, we have all the time to develop this. We said that open questions, right? But there's other questions that are classified under research questions. Go and research for this. It's as simple as you can ask a student, it takes a form of a simple form, go and look for a book in the library. Give the child a name of a book and let him or let her go to the library and bring the book. This is a research. This is very simple. Of course, now with the advancement of technology and with having all these internet accesses available in classrooms and libraries, we can ask lots of these research questions. Questions that we don't have answer for them in the class. Questions that require some research. You see what I'm saying? So for example, can you compare between the methodology of Imam, for example, Imam al-Bukhari and Imam Muslim, two methodologies? Can you research for them and make a comparison? The answer is not in the mind of even the teacher himself. So it needs to make research. The child needs to ask someone else to look for some information here or there to get it. And we need to develop this very well nowadays because we need them more than we need anything else. It became very difficult in our life to have all this huge information in our brain. So just by having an iPod or iPhone or any tool of these or computer, you can get the information there. So it's not necessary that you keep all the information that you had to. In the past, we had to do this because there are no other sources. And that's why we expected the teacher to be a carrier of knowledge. But this concept now is fading or is changing. The definition of a teacher now is a facilitator more than he is a knowledge carrier. In the past, he was a knowledge carrier because he's the only one who carries it. But nowadays not. He is facilitator. He's trying to guide students, to help students to get the information or the knowledge in the easiest way. So can you give me some examples of this? Research questions in the subject that you teach. We want the students to do the job and we guide them. So first of all, we can give them some guidelines before they do that. We can give them some examples how we do it. And then after a week or after 2 or after 3 weeks or after a month, whatever, right? So let them do it their own. Let's say that there is a computer here and we ask the brother here, he's doing the search. Tomorrow, this sister is sitting behind the computer. After tomorrow, someone else is sitting here. You see, so they get the chance to play with it. And the teacher is running the class, giving students a task, and then from time to time, he would come and see what he's doing, right? So that's still the class is going on, the discussion is going on. Students are working on tasks, right? But he would come to the person who is behind the computer and we're doing this. I would guide him, ask him, what have you done? Where did you search for this? What did you do? You see what I'm saying? So it develops. You can do it even in the class. In the class, two people are sitting here, they have one computer, they are doing the research. Tomorrow, two other students, and so on and so forth. You can do it by, if you don't have a computer in the class and you don't have access, you send them to the library, okay? And, or if it is a difficult task, okay, it would be at the end of the day, it would be as an assignment. Go home and do some research about this. Whoever has access to the computer, and that's now, by the way, this can be one of the questions in the form. In the form that students fill, do you have access to the internet at home? Yes or no. Perhaps 10 years ago, nobody thought of this, but now because of the advancement of technology, we can ask. Now, when you know that those students have access to internet, so you can ask them to do the work at home. And this is, again, what you're doing, you are trying to extend the time of learning from the school to home. You are stealing from students' time at home to add it to the learning. And it is enjoyable, by the way. They love to make research. Any other comment about this? Yes, please.
Not a comment, an example.
Say it again.
An example.
Do you want to give an example?
Yes.
Do you want, or do you want me?
I'm giving an example.
Yeah, please, go ahead.
I would give my students to do a research on the tsunami and the earthquake in Japan.
Yes.
And they can build
the tornado that happened today.
Yeah, they can build up and get in bullet points to class, which will help them to prepare a dialogue for an earthquake victim and the interviewer.
Absolutely. Try to imagine a class that has 30 students, and every one of them did search at home, and he or she is bringing a piece, whether it's a picture or a video clip, or try to imagine the amount of resources that you have in your class. You don't need to do the job. You don't need to prepare this at all. They do the job for you. And you listen to them. Whatever you think that you are going to do, they are going to do it on your behalf. They got it from experienced people and good sources, and they do the job, and you save your time. Okay, if you know how to use the research skill, you develop it very well. I was teaching, I used to teach in Johns Hopkins University. So when we come to an issue and we ask the question, okay, and nobody knows the answer, just, I swear, in less than a minute, students with their iPhones, right, immediately they get the answer. Immediately. The research is done like that. Of course, all of them are adult students, politicians. They're very skillful students. So in a minute, you get the answer. You don't need even to go home and do it very quickly. So this is something really we need to develop. And you can see the speed that they are working at and the speed other schools are not working at. That's why I say that it is very essential that to have internet access in our classroom. Looks expensive, but the quality is different. If you miss the opportunity with a generation, he will miss all these years. If you use it now, if it would become very effective. Yes, Johanna?
Brother, can we just add it with a feedback also? That whatever the child does a research, we take a small feedback from them, what they came across and what they felt, or
how
what
did
they
you
could
do
make a
it?
change.
How long did it take you? How many, the number of the websites on the top that talks about this subject, and so on and so forth. And many things, of course, you can teach them.
This way they won't be relaxed or something, because they know that by the end of the time I'll have to give a feedback that I did this, and these were the things.
Of course,
so
of course.
Keep them focused.
You ask them about the process in the class. How did you do that? How long did it take you? Okay, what are the benefits that you learned? You yourself, what are the benefits that you learned when you made this research? Yeah, you have to hear them saying that. So the process itself, how it happened, so they would be critical. So somebody else would say that a different process than this one. So you learn, okay, this process now, you learn from him that this process took him shorter time than you. Without you saying it, so they will learn from each other. You see how the situation in interactive class happens. What else? Research skill, but keep it in your points. Research questions. Research questions. Just beneath what? Open questions. Now we are questioning strategies, now varied from closed, open, and research. This research is definitely different from those two. The other two fall into questions that can be answered in the classroom. The third one needs some support, external support. Okay, and we need to develop the skill. It's totally a different skill than others. Any other comment? Yes, please.
One more comment would be that there's a lot on the internet and you find children who are, browsing through things which are not required. But I feel if you involve them into such skills and you give them some task, I think they will be using the net for a purpose that would benefit them.
Definitely. They don't know it today, and it can be done by two ways. Either you can give them clear guidelines, and perhaps these clear guidelines can be written on a board, right? Or a board close to the people who are using the internet, and they are all the time there. So they would use these guidelines to get to their point very quickly. Yes, please.
Yes, I would like to comment on the comment which the sister made. I partly agree and partly disagree. I partly agree and I partly disagree,
okay, of course.
Because if you are limiting the research to other subjects like maybe maths, science, English, we can get some benefit. But when you speak about Islamic studies, so on the internet, there are more wrong information, more misconceptions about Islam rather than correct information. So leaving a child, even though if he is in 11th or 12th, leaving a child go and research on the internet regarding Islam is not a good idea, according to me.
You're absolutely right. I said this. We covered this, I think one time ago. When we said, here you have a list of websites.
Yes, exactly. We can guide them that through these websites.
Yeah. You can guide them sometimes in some aspects and sometimes no. Sometimes even you leave them alone, right? So that when they make a mistake, when they come here to you, oh, you made a mistake because you did not follow the guidelines, so they learn the lesson, right? So you can do it that way. It depends on the age of the students. This is a very good comment. Every subject has its own properties and privacies, and so you have to pay attention to this. Good. I think I had something
This will also involve the parents. So
involving the parents. Wonderful. If the children are small, right, or you want the parents to be, this can be an assignment, right, to the parents with the child. Send a paper to the parent with the child, say that, please help the child to do this and this and this, and you can give a guideline, yes, even to the parent. So in this way you can do it. So again, this is another way of involving parents. Now we linked research skill and other skills with involvement of parents. As I said, the more you involve parents, the better for you. And today they are hesitant, they don't know, they come to you next week, oh, we're sorry, we don't know how to use it. So it can be one of the activities of the school that you can make a workshop or a training for the parents how to use the internet. And this can be after the class. So in this way, you educate the parents, right? And because of the time that you spend educating the parents, they will help you save your time later. You see how it works, how it is very connected. Okay? Any other comment? Yes, please.
You can relate this research with the involvement of parent and field trip. Like if there's a chapter on types of rocks at grade 2. So you can tell them to explore different types of rocks used in various places. Like there's granite in the kitchen, there's marble in statues, chalk in the classroom. So where all experiential learning, where all have you seen all this? Maybe you've gone somewhere with a parent, so you've seen that. And another chapter in science where you have different types of soil. So where do you see clay, where do you see loam, and all the different types
of
sand.
Yeah, of
so like your experience, your field trip, parent involvement along with research, everything's combined.
This is really great, yes. Now it's growing with us. I hope we have extra time, but the time is over. I hope you enjoyed it. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.
Little baby, pure and small, He created you, He created us all. Hush, little baby, don't you fear, we're never alone when Allah's so near. Hush, little baby, breathing so calm, He'll protect